Hello, folks. It's Miguel Murphy once more, and I'm here with Mr. Romeo from the Financial Aid Department. And Janeir's here on a significant day, a milestone, October 1st. And before we get into the significance of today, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Romeo. I've been with the Financial Aid Department for approximately 13 years. And now I serve at the capacity as a senior staff associate over financial aid programs. And today is a great, it's a festive day for financial aid because it commences the whole FAFSA application for the new 2019-2020 school year that's about to come up. So, we're here to encourage students, apply.
Nice. So you've seen, you mentioned 13 years. 13 years, and I'm thinking like every year we get thousands of students. So you see a lot of students. What is your advice for students who wait or who do not maximize sort of applying early?
Yeah, anytime I see a student that doesn't take the opportunity to basically apply for financial aid early on hand, which the federal government moved it from January to October, which is October the 1st, which is today. I see students pretty much trying to navigate through financial aid in a state of panic and a state of rush. And because of that, they end up losing out of, state grants that basically becomes available to students based on first come, first serve. And so the earlier you apply for financial aid, the earlier that you not only secure federal grants that may be available to you, but also state grants as well. And so because there's only a limited amount of pool of funding, if the students don't basically fill out their FAFSA early, then they're not going to be able to sit at the table, so to speak, to be able to get the state grants. And that could be an additional FSAG, FRAG. There's also, how can I say it, other state grants that are limited amount of funds in the pool that they only capture those students who apply early.
So you mentioned FSAG and FRAG. What does the acronym stand for?
Florida State Aid Grant and Florida Resident Aid Grant. And so those are state grants that basically is contingent upon first come, first serve, because there's only a limited amount of pool of funding in those funding sources. So that could be an additional, additional $800 to $1,200, per school year that you can literally gain just by figuring out the financial aid early.
Awesome. So thank you for setting that tone. I just want to walk back a bit into summer and Pell Grants and Pell Grants being available in the summer, because I know starting last term, that was the first time in a long time that students were able to tap into their financial aid.
Correct.
Which means that students who currently are receiving a Pell Grant may be eligible to receive Pell Grant in summer of 2019. And I say may be eligible because there's a criteria that has to be met, right?
Correct. The criteria is that the student basically is maintaining a minimum of 6 credits enrollment in order to get the summer Pell, the year-round Pell, which is a great tool for students to gain an extra 6 credits for the summer or even more to be able to finish in a timely manner or earlier.
So those students who don't maintain those requirements often fall under what we call the SAP, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. Just because you don't register for 6 credits doesn't make you, how can I say it, doesn't make you a violator, so to speak, of SAP, SAP is a totally, it's a different monster or a different beast in itself, so to speak. I like to tell students SAP is a measurement of your academic performance. And it's only contingent upon how are you actually performing at the end of the spring term. So SAP is measured once an academic year, and that's at the end of every spring semester. And so there's 3 components to basically SAP. SAP, you have to meet the GPA, which you have to have, is measured more or less a minimum of a 2.0 or higher. Your completion rate, meaning how many credits have you earned based on the amount of credits that you have attempted. So if you've been earning at a rate of 67% of all the credits that you attempted, then you're meeting that component. Then you have what you call excessive amount of credits, which is basically the 150, the time frame, so to speak. You know, what is the time frame, or how many credits are you taking to complete your program? So pretty much, I tell students it's basically the 150%. So it's, you know, we're covering 100% of your program. In addition to 100% of the program, we're covering 50% of your program. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, your program is 60 credits. We're covering 100% of that. We're giving you that allotment, and we're also allotting you an extra 50% of that program. So 50% of 60 will be what?
30.
30. Okay, so 60 and 30 is what? 90 credits. 90, right? So, you know, federal government allow you 90 credits, 150%, to complete that 60 credit degree program. So anything above the 150%, which is will be 90 credits, will be considered excessive credits. So then at that point, that's when you become in violation of SAP. And then at that point, at the end of the spring term, going into the summer, then you have to, that's when, you know, that point of contention.
So what is your advice then for students who are you know, just starting their journey, and they're not taking that criteria very seriously?
The SAP, I tell students, man, that's a good question. I tell students when I see them personally that you're forfeiting an opportunity to get your education financed. You know, it's, you know, coming to school is a job. You know, you come to school, you have to be focused, you have to be dedicated, and you have to basically sacrifice certain things, especially when you're being financed by something or someone else. And so if the federal government is financing you, financing meaning paying you, you know, to go to school, you have to give a return on that investment. With anything in life, let's say you were to buy a car. You buy a car, you want that car to, you know, to be fruitful to you. You want that car to be able to take you, you know, back and forth and not, you know, hopefully stall in the middle of the street or whatever the case may be. You want that car to be able to take you where you need to go in order for you to continue to want to make payments. Am I correct?
Correct.
Otherwise, you know, you're not going to want to make payments anymore on that car. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So, you know,
I relate.
You know, so I tell students, you know, it's the same, almost the same concept. You know, someone is basically, you know, financing you. Someone is investing in you, and they want to see a return on that investment. And if they don't get a return on that investment, and the only way to measure that return on that investment, in, you know, in a, you know, in a scholastical institution, would be what? Your GPA, your completion rate, your excessive credits, the time frame that it's taking you to complete a particular program. So that's how they you know, they measure it. And so once a student is in violation of any of the three, then that student is no longer, you know, then is no longer eligible for me to invest in that student, because that student is showing me that academically performing, you know, they're not academically performing up to par, so to speak.
So one advice is, you know,
I hope that clears.
That clears it up.
Okay.
And I'm happy you touched on that, because that is a reality for some students, you know, in terms of being in that predicament where, you know, they have to go through the SAP process, the appeals process. And life happens, right? You may have an extenuating circumstance, and I usually say let it be that you have an extenuating circumstance, and not that you took this opportunity for granted. But can you share a little bit about the work-study process as a function of, you know, financial aid, what the students have to do to maximize that opportunity?
I mean, work-study process is fairly simple. You know, we basically streamlined it to be relatively just go online to the Miami-Dade College website, click on employment under financial aid, and then once you click on employment, you look for the different, I guess, you know, different opportunities that the colleges offer. Like, for instance, maybe it could be advisement that's looking for a student assistant, maybe financial aid is looking for a student assistant, whatever the case may be. Then you put your resume in. Then once you put your resume in, then as if you applying for that particular job. Same process. And then the office manager would reach out to you and set an interview process for you. And then if you were to be selected, then you go through the whole interviewing process. And then if you are to be hired, then at that point you become a college work-study employee here at the campus through the federal government programs. So it's fairly simple as opposed to how it used to be in the past. It's just simply go online, look for a particular, you know, interest area that you would want to work at. Let's say if you're into production media, such as, then you would look at media services, and then media services will basically call you in for an interview. If they like you, they select you, then, you know, you would be employed for no more than 20 hours a week and earn income while you're actually on campus going to school.
And have to maintain that GPA.
Right. You also,
well.
correct. You also have to maintain a GPA. You have to be, you know, if you're a SAP student, you're not eligible for college work study. You're not eligible for loans. You're pretty much not eligible for anything that in terms of federal government
Awesome.
aid.
So loans, you mentioned, what is your take on, what are loan options that are available, and what's your thought on actually going through with
Well,
that
here at
process?
Miami-Dade College, because we're such a low-cost institution, we don't front load an award letter with loans. Front load means that, let's say if you go to a high-cost institution, they kind of front load your award letter with loans because they know that, you know, you need something to help supplement, you know, from your Pell or whatever the case may be. So here it's an option. The student has to request the loan. And so once they request the loan, they have to have a minimum of 6 credits. They also have to be meeting the SAP standards. And then once they meet those, you know, 2 components, then we process the student loan. And then once we process the student loan, we award them. I tell students, you know, because this is a low-cost institution, don't borrow no more than you actually literally really need, because you just may need to go to another institution or you may have an emergency or whatever the case may be. You don't want to cap out of how much loan you can receive early on hand, because this is your first 2 years. You're going to transfer out and maybe go to another institution, and you may need to borrow more funds to help supplement whatever, you know, aid you may be getting at the other institution. So I tell students, be mindful of that, and be mindful is not, and loans, you know, you have to repay them back, number 1, and number 2, you gotta have to pay them back with interest, and number 3, you know, they're not endless. There's a lifetime to obtaining a student loan.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So we touched on grants and the SRAG.
The FSAG.
FSAG and
Yeah.
the FRAG.
Right. SEOG is a federal grant. It's called Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, which is in addition to whatever federal Pell grant that you may be eligible for. But that comes directly from the feds, not necessarily from the state.
And that the benefit of getting that is applying early.
Applying early as well.
And
SEOG, because there's only limited amount of funds of Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you touched a little bit on work study and also on loans. What can you share with our students about scholarships and
scholarships. Another beautiful scholarships, another streamlined service that we provide at the Financial Aid Office. We offer that actually now twice a year, for the fall and spring as well as the summer. So now we're kind of gearing up as soon as we start awarding, because we pretty much award all the students already. We're going to start putting in or requesting applications for the summer scholarship. So there's plenty of scholarships that are out there, and we have ongoing scholarships. And I tell students, don't hesitate to apply because of the fact that you may not have a 3.0 or a 3.5. You know, I've seen students with 2.5 GPA obtain a scholarship. You know, and it's all contingent upon different criteria. Some is based on your ethnic group. Some is based on your area of interest. Some, it could be your personal circumstance. I've seen some scholarships given and awarded because of a single young mother. So I tell students, you know, don't be hesitant and don't be afraid to apply. It's just going to take a little energy, but, you know, you have people here to help you. You know, people at the Financial Aid Office that can help you to apply for scholarships. If you're kind of afraid of applying because you have to write an essay, it's only, you know, 2 paragraphs. And I'm pretty sure we have, you know, English teachers here that was willing to assist you to help you write your essays.
As well as the Write-In Center
Right,
in
correct.
2210.
That is correct. So there's multiple different resources here on campus that can help you secure, you know, the different fundings that we have here at the college and also on the federal level.
And the key is to do it early.
Yeah, the key is to do it early. The key is, you know, if you need help, seek out the help. We have help. Single Stop is also assisting students in applying for financial aid. We have workshops ongoing to apply for financial aid. The Computer Courtyard They have great staff over there,
Mm-hmm.
which helps students to basically navigate them through the application process. They don't help them do it, but they help them navigate through it.
So you have a lot of resources, and you can do it at home. And you know, I often mention, as you did, you know, single stop, the workshops, the courtyard, both floors,
Correct.
right?
That is
The Learning Commons downstairs has computers as well. If they go to the malls, they can check out a laptop right
Yeah, I totally
across
forgot
a
about that. Correct.
financial
The
aid.
malls, correct.
And a number of computer labs, you know, that are on campus. So, again, the key is to get it early. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to have this conversation, particularly that today is the day that it begins, so we can encourage more students, both continuing and those students who will be our students next year.
Correct.
That are still in high school.
That's
Now
still
is
in
a
high
great
school.
time. I actually got a message from a student in high school at North Miami Beach who, you know, asked for some advice. So that will be one of my number one
Wow.
tips is
Okay.
to, you know, submit your FAFSA, complete your application, etc.
Okay.
So to apply,
Always put Miami-Dade College as a school of your choice. And the school code to Miami-Dade College North Campus is 010-223. That's going to ensure that the application goes to the school of your choice, which would be Miami-Dade College North Campus. Only simply because of the fact that, you know, you may have other schools, you know, in mind, but then again, it's always good to have a safety net. So allow, you know, Miami-Dade College North Campus to be your safety net.
absolutely. Or number one option. And we have some
Yeah.
phenomenal options, including the Honors College
Correct.
and over 300 programs. And we're that gateway to everything in
Correct.
the United States, literally, right? And so many articulation agreements with other universities locally and across the state and across the country. I say that, and I have a student now that just relocated from Georgia
Oh.
because of articulation agreement that we
Beautiful.
have with Berkeley.
Okay.
And a number of other students have been doing that
As well.
as well. And so I've had students from Virginia, and it just dawned on me that the articulation agreements are the number one reason
That draws
why
students to us.
they're coming in from across the country.
Beautiful.
So Miami-Dade is a viable option as well. So folks, we can go on and on. Just remember to apply. www.fasa.ed.gov. All right, fasfa.ed.gov. So make sure you do that. If you need assistance, just reach out to any one of our colleagues on campus, and I believe we can steer you to an appropriate space to get that assistance that you need. Do you want to leave the folks with your contact information?
My name again is Jenna Romeo. I work at the Financial Aid Office of North Campus, room 1119, 13. My number that could be contacted is 305-237-1145.
All right.
And don't forget to complete your FAFSA like ASAP. If you want to secure the max amount of funds, you just basically need to complete the 2019-2020 academic school year using your 2017 taxes.
Thank you for highlighting that.
Okay.
2017 taxes. All right. And so my information, as you know, mmurphy3@mdc.edu. And I'll see you all on campus. You know how to find me, room 1104-12, or shoot me an email and you'll get my office hours. Take care.